at this to start with as a classroom teacher, the first thing that I would go to would be the list report. I'd bring up the list report. It would give me a list of all the kids in my group and their scale scores, along with their test scores and their stain lines as well. The first thing I would do here would be to filter them by an order. And straight away I can see, and I know this is demo data, which is why I chose it, but I can see here that this child who's achieved a scale score of 35, this child who's achieved a scale score of 79 are worlds apart from each other in the curriculum. You know, probably beginning level 2 to level 5 of the curriculum. And I know by looking at these two that they've got 35 out of 37, which actually tells me already that this test was too easy for them. And it probably already confirms what I already knew about these two, is that they're higher than expected. And this just confirms it. But actually for a teacher, it doesn't give me anything because I don't know where their challenges are.
Unmuted.
I know what they need or what, you know, I know that everything they can do, and that's all that I know, which I probably already knew that before anyway. So if I in this report and I wanted to drill down, because all of these reports are interactive so that you can just click on things. If I looked at Opal, for example, she's got 8 out of 37, which is less than the 60% of what I wanted her to achieve. But probably this test is going to be too easy for her. If I look at her report, this red line shows me where she achieved. So she's got a scale score of 35 down here. And remember how we looked before at all the questions and where they sit on the scale? So these are all the questions and all their place on the scale. So these questions were too hard for her, because if she sits here and the questions are sitting here on the scale, then I already know that this is too hard for her. So what would you say if you saw a report like this and looked at these questions with the black line around them, which tells me she got them correct? But what assumption would you make by that? Oh, and you've just gone off mute. It's asked you a question. There must be something about this today. I did one this morning. And
unmuted.
There you go. What assumptions would you make? Yeah, the ones that have the line, these are the ones she got correct. Oh, goodness me.
Unmuted.
As a teacher, I would be thinking, if she was sitting here and the questions were up here and she was getting these correct, I would assume these are probably guesses because they're not really at her level. And we know it's a multi-choice question. So, you know, there is a chance that she'll get the right answer depending on, it doesn't even matter. Sometimes she'll get the right answer if she knows how to do it or not. So this is quite good though, because we know she sits here. We know the questions are above here. So actually, I'm not confident that she knows how to do these questions. This one here, question 4, sitting about her level. Number 3, number 2, number 6, they're all around her level. Number 11 even, but these ones, 33 up here, definitely not. So I'd probably assume that they were guesses and
unmuted.
Accurate picture of what she can do. So I may Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so that's an example of a test being too hard for a student. Here's an example of a question test being too easy for a student. So this is the same test. All the dots are against the same places on the scale, but the student sits up here. So this student has aced the test and so
unmuted
test. So actually, I don't know where that child could take it or elements of struggle with them. All I know is that they can do everything in this test and it doesn't really help me as a teacher. Okay, so let's have a look at somebody else. Maybe let's have a look at Shania. Okay, so this is what I'd want to see when I was looking at a person who was doing the correct test for them. I'd want to see some under the line that they achieved at, and I definitely want to see some over the line. So I can see that these are maybe next steps. And these ones here are, you know, achievements. Now, this may not be typical data, or it may be in your class, who knows, but usually global inference are the more harder questions. But I can see that this child, Shania, has actually got a lot of global inference questions right. And this could be typical of a student in your class, I mean, who knows. But you could drill down in here if you wanted to. You know, you might want to know about this particular one. Let's have a look at the genre. It's an explanation. This is the only explanation text in this test, and she didn't get any of those right, even the ones that were sitting around her level. So these are below her level. We would expect her to achieve these, but she didn't. So for some reason, it might be that we haven't covered that, or we haven't done enough non-fiction text, or, I mean, it could be anything. But you might want to drill into this and see exactly why, or is this a global thing across your class, or is it just this particular student? So what I could do now is I could click on one of these dots and it would take me to the individual item. If you have a copy of the test, of the text, then this would help a teacher. But like I said, we don't have time to go into every individual question and look at them, but you might just have a couple of them that you want to look at because this, you know, goes with your inquiry, or you know, something like that. So what it does is it takes you to the questions that are in this whole text here, and it gives you a broad view of where your students were sitting. So, you know, why did these 3 kids choose B when all of the rest of the class chose D? You know, what were they thinking about? Like we did before when we pulled apart that question, we could pull apart this if we wanted to, if this was something that we thought might be useful. You know, why did they, or why are they thinking that way, or what did they not do to be able to answer this correctly, or what do they not have in place? So you can go in and you can click on any one of these and it will rejig everybody's answers and look. So obviously this one is the correct answer. You know, these might be your target kids. Maybe they just answered anything. You know, you might have some story behind this because you know your kids better than we do, but we just provide it when you can do the inquiry into it.